Okay, from Sixica, Butch Wolf.
Okay, Vincent, Yellow Old Woman from Sixica. We're glad that you're here with us once again. We meet here 2 o'clock. Can you count?
We're a little late, but it's
Yeah,
2
we're
o'clock now.
Indian time.
All right.
If you're a white person, you're pretty upset right now, throwing stuff at your TV. But the Indians, they know what 2 o'clock is. So, Indian time. We're glad you're. You know what, Butch? It's Christmas month. Today's December the 1st.
Yeah, that's, well, in our language, we call Christmas is Stomachadweeks.
Yeah.
Cold, holy day.
Cold, holy day.
Yeah.
Cold, holy day.
And from our ancestors, there was no such thing as Christmas.
Yeah.
It was just that was a time when it was a really short day, so a lot of times there were some ceremonies done and some celebrations, just indoor, drumming session, dancing, just visiting, and lots of eating.
Lots of eating, lots of eating.
So they would make sure that something was done around that time. But they didn't call it Christmas. It was the winter solstice, which would be around December 21st.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't have a New Year. So our New Year was spring.
Yeah.
When the leaves would bud.
Yeah.
When the leaves would bud, and that's our spring.
Yeah.
And the first thunder, and that was our New Year. So spring started off everything. But we've learned to live in these two different worlds.
Yeah.
Residential school, Christmas.
You know, people have asked me questions about who brought the Christmas tree, who was the first one to bring Christmas lights on. Well, growing up, we didn't have electricity, so obviously we didn't have Christmas lights I remember growing up in log cabins when I was just a little wee Indian boy. And so one Christmas, my neighbors, we didn't want to get left out. The Europeans were teaching us about their Christmas trees, Christmas turkeys, and all that. And so they were teaching us their ways. So I didn't want to get left out. So in front of Osun Residential School, I don't know if you remember, there was a bunch of little Christmas trees.
Yeah.
But now they're full grown. But there were a bunch of little Christmas trees, pine trees, in front of the school. So I had an idea. I said, you know what, I'm not going to be left out Christmas. I'm going to have my Christmas tree. So me and my buddy waited till the night went down and we decided, let's go get our Christmas tree. Because right here we live in the prairies. We're not in the mountains where we're access to pine trees and all that kind of stuff.
And you're looking at the river valley there, which has most of the trees.
They're all poplars and all different kinds of willows, but you won't find any pine trees in there. If you do, well, they just started growing, a few years ago. Sparse. But anyway, so we didn't have any. And so we waited till dark and we went and got an axe and we went in front of the school, the old residential school, and cut down their Christmas tree. So my buddy said, lift it up, don't drag it, because they'll follow your tracks. They'll know where you're going with the tree. So we lifted up as much as we could and got tired, because we were just kids, I don't know, 11 or 12 years old, maybe younger. And we were carrying this Christmas tree, and then we would drag it a little. And then finally made it to my house. I put it in the corner. My mom told me, "What's that?" I told him, Christmas tree. That was our first Christmas. Thank you, residential school. Our first Christmas. But we got it home. Then we didn't know about decorations and stuff, but we did what we could. We went to work and put up some kind of a decorations. And then my older brothers got mad at me the next day. What are you doing? You're gonna go to jail over this. Oh, I said, well, it's okay, it's only a tree. I said, before the RCMP gets here, I'm gonna chop it up and warm up the house here. So that was our Christmas, our first ever Christmas.
Your tree.
We didn't cover up our tracks very well. People saw our tracks. The needles were falling all the way home. It's because we lived close to the school at that time. Yeah.
And on the bald-headed prairie, you knew where to find a tree. One of the things that I guess for me, Christmas at residential school was kind of like kind of strange.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like the supervisors were suddenly nice.
Yeah.
And they would, then we'd each get a bag, a little brown bag of some nuts and some candy, and which I thought was kind of weird because these guys have been ordering us around and punishing us, and all of a sudden they're giving us this, and we thought that was some kind of a trick.
Yeah.
So we kept hanging on to those bags, waiting for the word to go ahead and eat. And none of us were eating, we're just all looking at each other in our little brown bag. Thinking, at least for me, I thought to myself, this has got to be a trick. I know we're going to get punished for this.
Yeah.
And then we had our own little, I remember we sang a song, something to do with shepherds or something from church.
Yeah.
And that was our song from our class, and we got to go down into the, what we called our auditorium, but it was kind of like a big Quonset. And but all we did was we went in there, sang our song, and while we were singing our song, you could look out in the crowd, and I could see my mom and dad, and
Yeah.
I thought, oh geez, kind of hard to concentrate on the song, but I sang the song, and after we finished, we got marched back out upstairs. Didn't even get a chance to say hello to my parents. And then we got to go home for 2 nights. This was kind of a treat.
Yeah.
The time I managed to go home for Christmas. The first Christmas I couldn't go home.
Yeah.
I got punished for trying to run away. But the second Christmas I got to go home. And,
Yeah.
but it was you went home after supper, and then I was at home for 2 days, but 2 days later I had to be back at the school before supper.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little break rather than the 1 day or they used to allow us to go home and the overnight thing, kind of like a 24 hours thing, a pass.
And they would feed us Christmas right before they let the students out. So it would usually be on a Thursday night or Wednesday night, I forget, before Friday, because everybody gets sent home. So it was usually the night before, I believe it was. And so we would have our Christmas dinner. The school would feed us turkey, and I don't know if they fed us ham. I don't think so. But anyways, they gave us cookies and all that kind of stuff, and they cooked all kinds of pies and cakes and you name it. And so we would eat. We're always hungry, so we're the ones that we when we never had problems cleaning our plates because there was not enough food to go around. So we had to finish our plates up. So Christmas time was, so when they fed us, and oh man, we just ate, jumped right into it like there was no tomorrow. And then they started bringing these pies, my table, and they kept bringing us these pies. So we were eating their pies or dessert, and then we were just full. Oh, we couldn't move. And then somebody came around with another pie, and they said, "You guys want pie?" I told them, "Yeah, we want pie." and the boys around the table were getting mad at me, saying, "Gee, I'm full. How come you don't?" I said, "Enjoy it." So we finished that. So that's what I remembered. And but I know some of you are going to be saying, "Okay, Europeans brought you that. What was your Christmas like?" And so our Christmas was like what he said earlier, cold, holy day. Is that what you said?
Cold, big holy day.
Big holy day.
Yeah, big holy cold day.
Yeah, big.
Or whatever.
Biggest cold holy day. So, anyways, that's how you say it in Blackfoot.
And what would happen is there was usually a powwow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One of the societies, I think it was the Horn Society would sponsor a powwow. I could be mistaken because sometimes they might have taken turns doing that powwow. But that's when we got to see our relatives from the other reserves.
Yeah.
And but that was part of the 2-day thing. We would be going home, so they would usually time it around that time so that we would have everybody would be able to be at the powwow. And our powwow place was an old hall. In my day, it was called Crowfoot Hall.
Yeah.
And it was named after a chief. It was kind of like a wooden building.
Yeah.
It could there's lots of room in there.
Lots of room.
For a good powwow.
Yeah.
And with our schedules at school, geez, we were already tired by the time the powwow was really kicking in, and they'd go all night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you'd wake up and the powwow would still be going. And, but there's lots of food, and people were giving each other gifts and whatever. But that was just part of the powwow, the giveaway.
Yeah, giveaway.
And there would certain families would sponsor a giveaway and make sure all the children had something. And it was a good time just to run around, be free.
Yeah.
Not a white person in sight.
No.
We
were happy.
The announcer was all in Blackfoot, and
Yeah.
everything was being done in our language, and it was just a really fine gathering.
It was a happy time. And you know, before the Crowfoot Hall was built, there was a little hall, well, if you want to call it a hall, at the old stockyards down the flats.
Yeah.
And right now it's a gravel pit. But right there was a little hall there. And I remember having those powwows in there. And people would come in their team wagons, and they would park around there, no vehicles, just team wagons. People come in, and there was no chairs. They would just sit on the floor and with their blankets, and everybody was comforted. It was, I remember the laughter, happy time, and there was always food. And you would see these old ladies coming in with their you call them today sacks, but what they did was they put their food in like a scarf or something, and they would tie it up, and they would bring these, sometimes they carried two And so there's plenty of food,
all kinds of pots
All
and
kinds.
pans and
all kinds of goodies.
just eat
Yeah.
till you're.
Till you're full.
Oh yeah, there was never any portioning out of the
Yeah,
meals. People just went and got their food, and of course the elders. We had to wait till the old people were fed
Yeah.
first, and then
Yeah.
they would have the prayer. And there was always that berry soup
yeah, oh yeah,
that would start everything off, and so that was all part of the festivities that time. But it was just
Yeah.
It's just a dance.
yeah, it was
And,
good.
it wasn't no competition, nothing,
Nothing.
just all kinds of different dances. And
So,
at that time, there was of course, everybody would be just getting all dressed up, and the people with their regalia, and they bring those out, and that was a time to show off.
Yeah.
And that you had some really fine dancers. Well, not that we don't have any right now, but
Yeah.
there were some certain people that were known for
yeah,
their kind of dancing, and even the ones that the owl dance was usually women's choice.
yeah, that's right.
And there were guys that were pretty popular with the owl dance. There were about 3 women would go and grab one guy. Sometimes the guy didn't want to disappoint anybody, so he would dance with 2 of them.
Yeah,
So that was all part, and we're just,
Yeah.
and of course us little ones were just we didn't even have any regalia, just go on in there and just cut loose.
cut loose. We had fun time. So that was our residential school, and that was the old way. And so we continued to celebrate, and I think today it's the giving. I think it comes from your heart, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. I tell my grandkids, I'm happy with $5 gift from Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's not the amount of dollars you put into a gift. You just be happy what you got. The spirit of giving. And have a meal, enjoy the family. And the big thing is the family time.
Yeah.
Family time. They say, what time are you eating? 4 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
or 6 o'clock, whatever. To me, it's an all day. You come at 10 o'clock, you visit and have fun, and then you sit down and eat. I said, now today we're so structured with European way.
Mm-hmm.
We got to know what time you're going to eat.
Yeah.
So people come at 4 o'clock. So the visiting is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I remembered back in the old days, people would visit. They would come from different reserves, and if the weather got like a blizzard came in, well, they would stay
Yeah.
in those halls
Mm-hmm.
till the weather broke up. It was better for them to go home.
Mm-hmm.
But they were not left alone.
Mm-hmm.
6 o'clock people would bring food for them to make sure they were okay, they were fed. But today it's so, time has
Mm-hmm.
wrecked our culture.
There was a time when I went with my uncle to a hand game.
Yeah.
And the houses being so small that we lived in, I remember this one house, they put up 2 of those kikukuwa.
Yeah.
Those
Oh, yeah.
They call them White House,
Yeah.
which was those canvas tents,
Yeah.
like miners' tents.
Yeah.
And they
Prospect tents.
Yeah, they would put them side by side, and they'd have a stove in there, and
Oh, yeah.
people would play their games in there. You'd sit in the back there and enjoy the atmosphere, and just games, just betting here and there and so forth. And it wasn't like a tournament thing. It was just different teams would just get together, and sometimes they would end up playing each other. Sometimes they'd end up playing on the same team. But there were people that were known for
Yeah.
and in those days there was no drums.
Yeah.
Sand games. They just had like a teepee pole or a pole.
Yeah.
and they just used tent pegs, and
Yeah.
that's what they used to sing their songs. And so all you'd hear is these sticks
Yeah.
going away. The songs, I don't know, it just made the song that much more
Authentic.
authentic. And
Yeah.
so, but things have changed. Now
Yeah.
we have big drums and whatever. But I'd love to see that again one of these days,
Oh, yeah.
with just the
Just a
just
cheap
the
people.
pole, put the
Yeah.
pole, and they really teased each other
Oh, yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah.
They would tease each other, and they would challenge you like that. One time I heard this guy. This guy had. It was really rare for people to have sunglasses, eh?
Yeah.
But this guy would always put his sunglasses on when he's going to hide, and somebody would tell him, I can still see your eyes behind there, because your eyes give away where you put the bones. And sometimes sometimes somebody would guess wrong, and he would just jump up and really kind of do a little dance and sit back down, just like how those football players make their little how do you call it, celebratory dance at the end. And the rules were just six Blackfoot rules.
Yeah.
They didn't have no kick, stick, or anything. It's just a 10.
Yeah.
And you just grab them, and there's a different way of when you were guessing. If you guessed one but missed one,
Yeah.
the missed one would hide again. If you missed that one, the other one that was guessed before would come back in.
Yeah.
So you had to be you had some really good people that really scoped out people. So the best thing was if you got both of them right.
Yeah.
And that was always a exciting one. Just like your team scoring 2 points.
Yeah.
And so just some thoughts on things like that happened during our holidays and so forth. And that was during the winter, and of course it was kind of it was hard times because of the travel and so
Yeah.
forth. And a lot of times it was just trail roads that they
Yeah.
dealt with back in the day. They didn't have regular roads.
Yeah.
The main road might be gravel, but the rest of the roads were all trails.
That's right.
As you can see, when you're traveling around on our nation here, you'll see a lot of trails
Yeah.
going all over the place, and that's what they would follow in order to get from one place to another.
That's right.
So through it all, we still enjoyed combining the two.
Yeah.
We have our Christmas, and now we can put up lights and put up a real tree. You don't have to steal. And always, and it's for me, I was always told that just through my growing up years in the church and whatever, that these shepherds brought gifts for the child
Yeah.
that was born. So for me, I was always told that Christmas is for children. And that's the time they kind of take the place of the birth of the nativity.
Yeah.
And so it was a time to honor children with some gifts.
Yeah.
And as adults, I never expected a gift, and so forth. Even now today, my focus is on the children, that they get something.
Oh, yeah.
Because Christmas is for me. It always stuck in my head. Christmas is for children.
Yeah.
And it's their time, and time to celebrate that. And on the other hand, in our powwow, Christmas is for that powwow that we have. It's a time for people to visit and just have a good time together. And there's no competitions.
Yeah.
Now, it's what's called a traditional powwow nowadays. People just go there and dance, and sometimes the organizers will help them out when they do the giveaway with a few dollars here for gas, and of course food.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll provide gifts for the children, which I like. Because,
Lots of,
so it's a combination of both that
Yeah.
we work with, and it's always something to look forward to at that time.
yeah, I think it has strengthened us in a good way, and so just wanted to share a little bit about what happened in residential school, about our experience there. Uh, the Catholics and where we went, it was the Anglican residential school, and so there was a lot of stuff that were new to us, but because our families, what he talked about was what we grew up with, and so we had our Christmas. It was, and it continues to be, and you know, your families still get together in a good way, and so I appreciate that. And so, you know, there's 3 individuals that did a remarkable job with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. There was Dr. Murray Sinclair, or Justice Murray Sinclair, and then Dr. Marie Wilson, and then Chief Willie Littlechild. Those 3 did a remarkable job and you know, I applaud them. They're good people, very powerful people, and I've always enjoyed listening to them speak. And Murray's the one that all of them just give a tremendous wisdom. Willie Littlechild from up north, he's a gifted speaker. I like listening to him because of his law background, political background,
Sports background.
oh yeah. So he's got it all together, and he's got it. He doesn't speak loud, but when you listen to his words, he's a soft-spoken guy, and so I really enjoy speaking to him and hear him speak many times. Had the opportunity to hear him speak. You know, he's going over to
Rome,
yeah,
Vatican City.
Vatican City. I don't know if he's left, I don't know if he's there, but he's going to be there pretty soon. And well, they're going to be talking about a number of things. But one thing in particular that I wanted to let the people know, that he's going to talk on behalf of us survivors. He's going to talk to the Pope, and hopefully the Pope will give them an audience. And so he's going to tell the Pope, you know, you need to apologize for the residential school. You know, the government of Canada has apologized, and all the churches, as far as I know, have apologized. The only one that hasn't apologized is the Roman Catholic. So I think it would be awesome if he does something like that. So
And then he's going to come and visit us
Yeah.
in BC.
I think that's what the trip is part of too. So this way the Pope will be ready when he gets here and what he's expected. You know, if he comes here and if he doesn't apologize, I would be disappointed. I think there'll be a number of survivors that would be disappointed. And so hopefully, you know, Willie will plant something in his head, in his heart, and to do something in a good way.
Yeah.
And
And that's a lot of our, on my side of the family, my mom's side of the family was from the Catholic church. So they're pretty near all of my aunts and uncles are gone that went to residential school. And that still, I guess in a way, it kind of bothers me because there was never really any acknowledgement from the Catholic Church
Yeah.
regarding this matter, although they said it happened, but that's about it. And they try to kind of whitewash it, saying they were doing some good and they were doing their mission work or whatever,
Yeah.
but nothing really in the way of acknowledging the way that these residential schools were run and some of the tragedies that happened within those schools. So we're going to. That's the reason for these broadcasts, because we don't want people to forget the residential school survivors. Because it hasn't only affected us, it affected our parents, and now it's affected our children, and now it's going to be passed down to our grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they've got, my grandchildren reacted pretty, they were mad.
Yeah.
When they heard about this, and I mean, they've heard that we went to residential school, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And now this information is becoming more and more available, and it's something that we can't just hide away anymore. It's part of our history.
Yeah.
And that's some of the things that a lot of people say. And then a lot of people tell us to get over it. Well, we're still not over it. We're still in it.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 generations from here, they'll be able to get over it.
Yeah.
But we're still in it.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of saying that we can just forget about it, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's part of us, and And then when you take a look at the things that came out from that, a lot of our survivors got into drinking.
Yeah.
And which really, a lot of people died
Yeah.
before their time through various incidents involved with drinking. But for a lot of us, I won't say some of us, but a lot of the survivors, we've recovered.
Yeah.
And just between the both of us here, we're looking at least about 100 years of sobriety, which we've been. A lot of people don't. Especially our non-indigenous brothers and sisters, they'll see an Indian and the first thing that'll come in their head is the stereotypical, must be just another drunk Indian, because that's what history has worked at that story. And not even looking at the background to why our people are still numbing themselves from these memories, from this trauma that they've experienced from their parents or grandparents that went to residential school, and they kind of carried those residential school rules home and raised their children along the same lines, but at least with a little bit of caring. So that's who we are, and I can just sense it when I'm walking into let's say we're walking around the city or someplace in a crowded place. People will take a look at us and they'll instantly put a drunken Indian label on it. That guy must be looking for a place to drink, that kind of stuff. Or maybe he's got a hangover, all those things associated with being drunk. So there are a lot of us that have recovered and are still in recovery through our various support agencies, and even our ceremonies and our elders or societies, and our people being involved in the churches now that are giving a lot more empathy and not just spouting words that are going to gloss over any of these traumas that we've talked about, but actually looking at helping people and supporting them and getting them to regain their faith in themselves, and also within getting a relationship with our opposite creator or God, those kind of things. So those things are all very helpful towards our recovery.
We're going to wind down to here, but between the two of us, I think we're looking at over 100 years sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
just the two of us here. So we're not close being drunken Indians and stuff like that. And white people know me all their lives, and they should start saying, I know Francis Wolflake. He's a Blackfoot Indian. I know him. He doesn't drink. So, you guys need to spread the word. Don't contribute to the ignorance of labeling everybody a drunken Indian, because we're sober. We want to contribute to society, and like you said, help out in different churches and stuff like that, and helping your people. Some of the white people are messed up in drugs and alcohol, and so we're reaching out to them in a good way. But we talked about the 94 calls to action, and I hope people have been reading that you download that on your computers.
Yeah.
And quit telling us, what are we going to do? How can we help? Download the 94 calls to action, write down, it's all spelled out. And I got some our neighbors near the reserve here. My granddaughter goes to Karshland Elementary School, and this is the first time ever in that school they had a Indian princess. Yeah, never had one.
Oh, yeah.
So slowly we're seeing that happen, and so that school there is really opened up to First Nations and trying to get to know who we are and stuff like that, and some of our values, some of our traditions. And so I was glad when my granddaughter came home one day and said, we're going to have a princess pageant. Oh, good. So they're picking up. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear that.
So with this combination of our traditional past and as we still follow that, and of course the contemporary one with that Christmas tree and the lights and so forth, I always remind people, don't forget the children now.
Yeah.
And you adults, don't get too full of yourselves that you expect something for Christmas. There's a blessing in giving. My dad always reminded us, for every good that you do, you lay your treasures in heaven.
Yeah.
So you may not get the reward here, but when you leave here on your journey home, that's where your treasures are going to be.
So if you want to give to an adult, I wear size 9.5 cowboy boots, please.
Those ones with really, really wide, flat nose. I remember when I was growing up, and when I got to an older age, my mom would always buy us socks.
Yeah.
And that was really something, an adult, getting a sock. So, by all means.
Yeah.
It don't cost very much. You can get a whole bag of them at Walmart for about $20. I think there's about 20 pairs in there. You can get about 20 pairs of socks. Okay. So you take care and be safe with this COVID thing.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll meet up again. I might not be around next week.
Okay.
So
we'll see you guys the following week, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right, dear. Take care. Done.
Hayo kindoni sipata. Ita mskrahkui kuku. Nita patua pi kitsin hikasimi na kukawa tu yitsipin. Hayo na ko tseputut kitsin na isin. Hani kanstauka kitsmato pi ita mskrahkui. Ano kanstauka kitsmatot no ksahkui. No kat hukinana no ksistiko iknapain. Minukat desk nit nitsiputsa psinanist. Nituita ko katanistas kiksu kuamana no mix nit ko Mr. Tokin nax. Minoko maiks cooking. Okay, kamotsi kinan sao mitsitapita kita waste cooking. Kisto na kitsit kanin. Kitsit kanes kunataps. Kiti tukana watu waps. Kima tukusik kiti. Amen.